Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." These words carry a truth we often resist. Everything in this life is temporary. People come and go, moments arrive and disappear. Even the strongest bonds will eventually face the test of time. Yet, most of our suffering comes not from the loss itself, but from our refusal to accept that. Impermanence is the very nature of existence. Emotional detachment begins here, with acceptance. To detach from someone does not mean you erase your memories or deny your feelings. It means you stop demanding permanence from what was never designed to last forever. Think of the seasons. Spring does not cry when summer arrives. Autumn does not resist the coming of winter. They flow into each other with grace because nature does not cling. You too are part of that same nature. You must learn to flow. When we hold on to someone too tightly, we create the illusion of ownership. We start to believe that because they were once part of our life, they must always remain. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have been formed of change, and you will dissolve into change. People are not possessions. They are travelers, just like you, walking their own path. Some will walk beside you for a time, and then their road will turn. To fight this is to fight reality itself, and reality always wins. Acceptance does not make the pain vanish instantly, but it transforms it. Instead of drowning in resistance, you begin to breathe in gratitude. You say, yes, this person was part of my journey, and I am grateful for that time, but their chapter in my life has closed, and I will not keep rereading the same page. This is the wisdom of Gesant, impermanence. It frees you from chains of attachment. Think of a hand grasping water. The tighter you hold, the quicker it slips through your fingers. But if you let it flow, it refreshes you and moves on naturally. Relationships are the same. When you cling, you suffer. When you accept, you grow. To emotionally detach, you must train your mind to see the temporary nature of all things. Each sunrise is unique. Each moment is unrepeatable. Each connection is a gift, not a guarantee. By accepting impermanence, you stop bargaining with reality. You stop saying, this must stay, and instead whisper, thank you for passing through my life. This acceptance is not weakness, it is strength. It is the courage to face life as it is, not as you wish it to be. It is the power to release without bitterness and to walk forward without chains. Impermanence is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. So remember this, nothing you love is truly lost, it has simply transformed. Accepting that truth is the first step to emotional freedom. That is the Stoic way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In this single line lies the foundation of Stoic wisdom and the key to emotional detachment. When you find yourself clinging to someone, when your heart aches because they pulled away, remember this, you never truly lost control because you never had control over them in the first place. The root of suffering is the illusion of control. We believe that if we love deeply enough, if we sacrifice enough, if we hold on tightly enough, people will stay. But Stoicism calls this a dangerous illusion. The truth is simple. Other people's choices, feelings, and actions are not yours to command. You can beg, you can plead, you can hope, but you cannot dictate another person's path. The only thing you can ever control is how you respond. Emotional detachment is not about shutting down your feelings. It is about drawing a line between what belongs to you and what does not. Your thoughts belong to you. Your actions belong to you. Your values, your discipline, your response, these are fully in your hands, but their love, their loyalty, their presence, those belong to fate. And when you try to carry what is not yours, you crush yourself under unnecessary weight. Imagine your mind as a fortress, what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel. Inside that citadel, you are untouchable. Outside of it lies everything you cannot control. Other people, as opinions, the outcome of relationships, the chaos of life. The problem is we keep running outside the walls, trying to fix, chase, and grasp what isn't ours, and every time we do, we return wounded. Detachment means staying inside your fortress, protecting what is yours, and letting the storms outside rage without pulling you under. Ask yourself, how much of your suffering comes not from what happened, but from wishing it were different? You replay conversations, imagine scenarios, torture yourself with what if. But the Stoics would tell you this is wasted energy. What happened, happened. The choice they made, they made. Your only power is in shaping your next thought, your next step, your next moment. Why waste strength on battles you cannot win? To detach emotionally, you must practice surrender. Not surrender in weakness, but surrender in wisdom. You release the grip on what is not yours, and suddenly you stand taller. The the mind clears. You realize their path is theirs, my peace is mine. And in that moment, you reclaim power not over them, but over yourself. This is the essence of Stoicism: to master yourself, not the world; to command your mind, not another's heart. Detachment is liberation because it reminds you of this eternal truth. You are not meant to control others. You are meant to control yourself. And when you finally release the rest, you discover unshakable freedom. The Stoics practiced something most people today would find strange, even uncomfortable. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. At first it sounds dark, imagining loss, setbacks, even death. But in truth, this practice is not about dwelling in misery. It is about building resilience before life tests you. If you want to detach from someone, if you want to break free from emotional dependence, this tool is your shield. Think of it this way: when a soldier trains for war, he does not pretend the enemy will never come. He prepares for the battle before it begins. He rehearses every move, every strike, every defense, so that when the moment comes, he does not panic. He acts. The Stoics treated life the same way. By imagining loss before it happens, they built armor for the soul. So how does this help you detach? Simple. When you imagine life without someone, you take the sting out of reality. Right now, your mind clings because it believes, I cannot survive without them. But through visualization, you face that fear directly. You picture the worst, life without their presence, and you remind yourself, I am still breathing. I am still capable. I am still here. The world does not end with their absence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you while you live. While it is in your power, be good. He wasn't calling for despair. He was reminding us that life is fragile, and we must not cling to illusions of permanence. By visualizing loss, you become grateful for what you have now, and prepared for when it passes. Gratitude and readiness. These are the twin forces of detachment. Let me give you an example. Suppose every night before sleep you imagine that tomorrow the person you are attached to might not be in your life. At first, the thought hurts, but over time you begin to appreciate them more in the present moment instead of anxiously clinging to the future. And when the day eventually comes that they do leave, you are not broken, you are steady. Why? Because you have rehearsed it in your mind. Negative visualization does not strip life of joy, it deepens it. You savor every moment because you know it is fleeting. You detach not by rejecting love, but by accepting that love, like all things, is temporary. And when you accept that, you love without chains. You care without desperation. You release without collapse. Detachment, then, is not numbness. It is clarity. It is saying, I have already faced the worst in my mind. If it comes, I am ready, and if it doesn't, I will be grateful. That is the Stoic way, so practice this daily. Picture loss, face it, embrace it, and you will discover the secret when you are no longer afraid of losing. You are finally free to live. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Behind this simple instruction lies a greater Stoic principle, the supremacy of reason over emotion. If you want to emotionally detach from someone, this principle must become your foundation. Because while emotions are powerful, they are also unstable. They rise like waves, crash with fury, and fade into silence. Reason, on the other hand, is the anchor. It holds you steady when the storm inside threatens to pull you under. When you are deeply attached to someone, your emotions cloud judgment. Your heart insists, I cannot live without them. Your mind whispers, but you are already living. The battle begins, and most people lose, not because the heart is stronger, but because they never trained the mind to lead. The Stoics believed this. Feelings are not enemies, but they must never be masters. To detach, you must learn to put reason back on the throne. Think of it like this. Emotions are passengers in the carriage of your life. They shout, they cry, they beg to take the reins. But reason is the driver. If you hand over control to emotion, the carriage veers off a cliff. If you let reason hold the reins, the journey continues with stability, even if the road is rough. Detachment means refusing to let emotions dictate your path. How do you anchor yourself in reason? Begin by questioning your thoughts. When the heart says, I cannot let them go, ask, is that true, or is it fear speaking? When the mind insists, I need them to be complete, challenge it. Were you not whole before they arrived? Marcus Aurelius himself practiced this relentless questioning, reminding himself daily that things outside his control had no power unless he granted it. Reason also teaches perspective. When you step back, you see the bigger picture. This person is one chapter in the book of your life, not the entire story. Reason tells you that your purpose, your growth, your virtue, these matter more than clinging to someone who may not be aligned with your path. Emotion says, hold on. Reason says, let go, for peace lies beyond. Anchoring in reason does not mean you suppress feelings. It means you guide them. Like a rider taming a wild horse, you channel emotion into discipline. You acknowledge the pain, but you do not become the pain. You recognize the longing, but you do not obey it blindly. Detachment happens when you rise above the storm and let reason choose the course. Remember, the Stoics never sought to kill emotion. They sought to master it, to love wisely, to release gracefully, to live freely. Detachment, therefore, is not the absence of feeling. It is the triumph of reason. When you let logic, clarity, and truth lead, the chains of attachment fall away, and you walk forward, not broken, but unshakable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. It's not events that break us, but the way we interpret them. If you wish to emotionally detach from someone, you must learn to reframe loss, not as the end of your happiness, but as the beginning of your freedom. When someone leaves your life, the first instinct is to see it as subtraction. You tell yourself, I have lost love, I have lost security, I have lost a part of myself. But what if you shifted that perspective? What if instead of saying, I lost them, you declared, I have been returned to myself? That single reframing changes everything. Suddenly, what felt like chains breaking becomes weightlifting. What once felt like emptiness becomes space for growth. The Stoics taught that no external event, no rejection, no departure has the power to destroy your inner fortress. Pain only lingers when you label the event as tragedy. But you have the power to call it something else. You can call it liberation. You can call it clarity. You can call it the opportunity to rise stronger than before. Think about it. How many times have you looked back on what you thought was devastation only to realize it was redirection? The job you lost made space for something greater. The person who left freed you from illusions. The storm that shook you cleared the path ahead. The Stoics believe that everything serves you if you choose to see it that way. Detachment becomes easier when you recognize loss as nature's way of giving you back your freedom. Reframing loss also forces you to reclaim your identity. Too often, attachment makes you forget who you are. You bend, you sacrifice, you depend, until you believe you cannot stand without them. But when they are gone, you are reminded you are still here, you still breathe, you still carry strength within. The chains of dependency break, and beneath them you find the person you were always meant to be. That is not loss, that is liberation. Marcus Aurelius faced death, betrayal, and disappointment daily, yet he chose to frame it differently. He didn't say, I am cursed. He said, it is in accordance with nature. He embraced every ending as part of a larger flow, and that is the Stoic challenge for you, to look at the ending of a relationship not as destruction, but as nature's design to return you to yourself. So remember, detachment is not about becoming numb or pretending you never cared. It is about shifting the lens. It is about seeing loss not as something stolen from you, but as something given to you. Freedom, clarity, strength. You did not lose. You were set free. That is the liberation only Stoic reframing can bring. Marcus Aurelius lived in a world of war, betrayal, and loss, yet he never allowed himself to drown in despair. Why? Because he anchored himself in purpose. He knew that life was not about clinging to people, but about serving duty, cultivating virtue, and walking the path of reason. If you wish to emotionally detach from someone, the most powerful step you can take is to redirect your energy away from attachment and into purpose. When you are consumed by someone, all your energy flows outward. You invest your thoughts in them, your emotions in them, your identity in them. You make them the center of your universe. And when they leave, the center collapses and you feel empty. But the truth is, you were never empty. You were simply pouring your strength into the wrong place. The Stoic answer is not to stop giving energy, but to redirect it towards something that cannot be taken from you, your purpose. Purpose is your anchor when everything else shifts. It is the compass that keeps you moving when emotions try to paralyze you. Marcus Aurelius didn't sit in his palace mourning the betrayals of those around him, he wrote. He served, he led, he lived by principles larger than himself. He knew that a life centered only on people is fragile, but a life centered on purpose is unshakable. Ask yourself, what can I build? What can I create? How can I serve? What path of growth have I been avoiding because my energy was chained to someone else? Every ounce of strength you once gave to holding on, give it now to building yourself. Every moment you once spent replaying conversations, spend it mastering a skill, shaping your body, sharpening your mind. Every tear shed for someone who left, turn it into fuel for the mission you were born to fulfill. Detachment becomes natural when you have something greater to attach yourself to. This is why the Stoics clung to virtue above all else. They saw life as service to reason, justice, courage, and discipline. When your life is guided by such values, you no longer crumble when someone departs. Why? Because your foundation is not built on them, it is built on purpose. This redirection also transforms pain into progress. Instead of asking, why did they leave me? You ask, what strength can I gain from this? Instead of drowning in what is gone, you rise in what can be built. Loss becomes the spark that ignites growth. Detachment becomes less about losing someone and more about rediscovering yourself. Remember, a fire grows stronger when fuel is added. Do not let your emotions burn out in the ashes of attachment. Feed the fire with purpose. Build something so powerful, so enduring, that no one, as absent, can extinguish it. In the end, this is the Stoic way: to love without chains, to lose without despair, and to live with purpose so great that no external force can shake you. Redirect your energy, and you will find freedom. Redirect your focus, and you will rise unbreakable.